need a little sports in our life, right? And I'm a huge basketball junkie. Anybody who knows me knows I love college basketball. I do enjoy the NBA, but particularly playoff time. This is going to be a really weird NBA season, right? It's really bizarre. They're known as the bubble is what it's called. They're in the bubble right now. It's where all players need to be quarantined if this thing is going to work. And there's a lot of stories to talk about there and a lot of stories in regards to Adrian Wojnarowski. And what better person to talk a little hoops than my man Jamieson Welsh from Drive Time Sports, who covers the NBA for a living. Jamieson, thanks for joining us, my man. How are you?
Hey, what's up, Jamieson?
I'm doing well, fellas. Thanks for having me as always.
Yeah, it's been a little while. You stayed safe during this coronavirus? How are you doing?
Always, man. Always. I have a nice house, so I just chill at home for the most part, go out when I have to, take precautionary measures, and just go from there. But at the end of the day, just minding your own business goes a long ways, just doing what you're supposed to do, staying out of trouble, it goes a long ways.
I tend to agree with you on that one, my friend. Speaking of minding your business, a lot of NBA stories to get to. Let's start with Adrian Wojnarowski. So the way it goes is this. Wojnarowski is having a somewhat of a Twitter feud with Senator Josh Hawley. He's from Missouri, right, if I'm not mistaken? And
yes, he is.
So the senator sends him a letter questioning NBA Commissioner Adam Silver and the league's relationship with China, and Wojnarowski responds on social media by saying "F you."
Now, he responded via email.
Via
his official email.
Right, exactly. That's important.
Yeah.
His official ESPN email. So it goes out in public, and then ESPN has decided to suspend him for 2 weeks. Jamieson, what do you make of this story?
Yes, so here's the situation. Whenever you work for a corporation, we all sign or docu-sign or click on certain terms and conditions of your employment. And part of that is, the internet, email has to basically work professional. If you're going to send anything from your email or you're going to use the work laptop, whatever it is, has to be work-related, work professional. Cussing out someone on your work email is not work professional, and that's where this comes from. If he does this on his Gmail account, it's probably not it doesn't go down like this. But since it is involving ESPN and Disney, he is an employee, he did use that email, he's technically representing that company, saying that to a politician, that is going to be a problem. That's
right.
Yeah, you can't say F you to a sitting United States senator.
So let me give you guys quickly here, Jamieson, my Adrian Wojnarowski story. So as you know, I'm friends with Warren Ligari, great guy, longtime NBA agent, and he runs the NBA Summer League here. So I'm having dinner with my friend Warren Ligari and a few other friends as well. And Adrian Wojnarowski comes to the table, sits down, doesn't introduce himself, doesn't say who he is. He sits next to Warren. Warren is the one that has to introduce him to us, doesn't shake our hands, gives us a look like, who the hell are these guys? He sits there. He's a pretentious jerk. I don't know how else to describe him. And listen, I understand he has a job to do, and he has a lot of relationships with NBA guys, and I understand he's probably the best insider in basketball. But what is his job, really? His job is to be a brown-noser. His job is to develop kiss-ass relationships with people. Why? So he can get it. So he can get the story first. And all I can tell you is in my one run-in with him for an hour and a half when we had dinner, he was very cocky, extremely unfriendly, and a huge ego. And I wouldn't. I'm just going by my personal opinion on him based on that interaction in that dinner. I was sitting right next to him. He was just a jerk. What have you heard about this guy? Am I wrong in making those assumptions based on my experience?
So he's an interesting guy. He's been in the industry for over 25 years. So, he has a lot of experience in this industry. He has a lot of connections, knows a lot of people, and he's usually first when it comes to NBA news. So, he is the guy people go to for their updates. He's the guy that people set alerts on for whenever he tweets, they get it right to their phone. So I understand the importance of him and what he does and, his connections and his network. However, personality-wise, is maybe a little bit different. Like you mentioned, you had a different experience with him. Also, a lot of people feel that when he first went to ESPN, it was kind of strange because all those people were his old competition. He was at Yahoo before. So basically, Yahoo didn't have a full network of people. It was just him and Mark Spears basically doing NBA.
Sure.
ESPN had like 25 different insiders or personnel people. So it was at first when it first got to ESPN, it was kind of tough. Eventually, it got better. But here's the thing you got to realize: during the summer, especially during summer league, there's so much going on. I can understand. I'm not giving him an excuse, but I can understand him being straight to the point because there's so much news and so much stuff going on. However, he could at least shook your guys' hands. That's something he could have done.
Yeah, he was just a jerk, and he just rubbed me the wrong way. So, Jamieson, I wasn't planning on talking about this because I didn't know, but we've got some breaking news here. Houston Rockets star Russell Westbrook has just tested positive for the coronavirus. What does this mean for the NBA, and what does it mean for the Houston Rockets?
It means that he's going to be in quarantine for the next 2 weeks or 10 days, however long that time period is. And we'll see what happens with James Harden because James Harden has not gotten to Orlando either. And we'll see his status. And, for what I've been told and what I've seen is that Westbrook and Harden have been working out together.
Yeah, I've actually seen that as well. But he did say that.
And Harden's not in Orlando right now. So,
right.
And also, Harden has asthma, so he has technically a pre-existing condition. Now, Russell Westbrook has little children. So I believe he has a set of twins that are like under 6 months or at 6 months age. So there's a lot going on with this situation.
Sure.
We'll see what happens. The Houston Rockets are already kind of a shorthanded team. They're a very small team, so we'll see what happens. But right now, this is the situation that they're in. The NBA is trying to get everyone in the bubble positive. They want everybody to be okay.
Yeah, we don't want that.
They want to make sure everybody tests negative.
Right.
Make sure everybody's fine, and then they start the games, and hopefully there's no interruption. But it's a really tough situation. The way the schedule's set up, they can't have any interruptions or anything like that because it's a very tight schedule. And also, we don't think about this, but August is the middle of hurricane season in Florida, so it's a lot going on in this short amount of time.
Speaking of interruptions, I saw an article from Outkick.com that said that I guess NBA players are known to have, they're called side pieces, if you will. And there have been women that have been reached out to they've gotten invitations to enter the bubble. Do you think that will be a problem with distractions in Florida, Jamieson?
It very well can. Well, I wouldn't say distractions because guys are used to doing that.
Right.
They're going to do it wherever they're at. So whether they're on the road, at home, if you go to an NBA game at an NBA arena, you know where the family, friends, and wives section is, and you know where the side chick section is. Every arena has different, places. That's just how it goes. That's just how it is.
Fair enough. That's
the norm. So that's always going to be the case. However, there are some guys who aren't going to be able to bring anyone, wife, side chick, whomever. And it's going to be rough for some teams aren't going to be there for 12 games.
Yeah, I don't feel sorry for them.
The Nets got 12, maybe 13 games.
Jamieson,
I'm going to try to handicap that.
Yeah, Jamieson, I don't feel sorry for them, and that leads me to my next topic that I want to talk to you about, side chicks or not. So I actually have met Jay Williams a bunch of times. We're talking about Jay Williams, former Duke standout who played for the Bulls for a short period of time, then had a horrible motorcycle crash. But he's a really good dude. I really like Jay Williams, and I've hung out with him in Vegas before. I've gambled with him. I'm a big fan of his. He happens to be an ESPN analyst. So he is ripping some of these NBA players who are complaining about the living conditions inside the NBA's Disney World bubble, calling them tone deaf, challenging them to think about the real everyday working Americans. I mean, there are several NBA players like Joel Embiid, Lakers, J.R. Smith. The past few days have mocked the meals being provided to all 22 NBA teams, while Rajon Rondo, who just had an injury, by the way, he's out for a while, compared
6 to 8 weeks.
He compared his luxurious hotel room to a Motel 6. I think these players are off base, and I think they're wrong by doing that. I understand they live a lavish lifestyle, and they've earned that. But for a lot of other people out there that are struggling, I think they're being very insensitive to the everyday, hardworking American that will never have the opportunity to live their lavish lifestyle. Do you agree with Jay Williams and myself?
I disagree for a few reasons. One is that they're being forced to play in a bubble and be in a bubble when no one else is. The employees of Disney, of the whole Disney situation, they're not forced to be in the same bubble. The owners and front office people aren't forced to be in that same bubble. They don't have the same rules. You don't get to see your family and your kids, during this time consistently in person. So they're making sacrifices as well. I mean, not everyone, even though they're NBA players and they are getting paid and whatnot, they're making sacrifices also. However, it's a rule for NBA teams whenever you're traveling, you have to stay at a 5-star or the highest-rated hotel in that city. So, for instance, Vegas has several 5-star hotels. However, some cities don't. Like Portland technically does not. I think Memphis does. There's a couple of cities that don't have technically a 5-star hotel. So you have to stay at the highest-rated hotel in that city. So that's what you're accustomed to. Also, when it comes to the food situation, so here's the thing we all have to realize. These are different people. Not necessarily that they're important or they're, they're this or they're that. Their bodies is how they make their money. What they put in their bodies is how they perform on the court. And giving them half a chicken breast and some, giving them portions that don't necessarily fit the description isn't cool. If anything, food should have been the most important thing, because you want these guys who are going to be playing every other day for 3 months. You want them to make sure.
All right, I get that. Jamieson, I get that point, and that is a very valid point. But Rajon Rondo, who I've never been very fond of, maybe I'm a little biased, comparing the hotel they're in to a Motel 6 to me is completely ridiculous.
Well, I mean, compared to, okay, so here's the thing. If you're staying at 5-star hotels and you go to a 3-star hotel, then yeah, that is. Now, if you're used to staying at a 3-star hotel and you go to, down lower, that's comparison. Everyone's life is different. So their perspective is way different than the average person. That's why it's tough to compare, hey, what they're used to and what we're used to are two way different things.
Perhaps, but for
now,
the last...
should he have said it?
Yeah.
Should he have said it? Probably not, but...
All right.
Again, their perspective is way different than ours.
All right, fair enough. So let's talk about, I wanted to save this for last. This is somewhat of a controversial subject for some. I don't think it should be controversy, but let's talk about it. As you know, the restarting this NBA season will feature players sharing social justice messages on their jerseys. I personally do not have a problem with everyone in the NBA showing a little bit of solidarity. I guess my definition of BLM is different than others, and I don't understand why. I think the majority of the people in the BLM movement are in it for the right reasons, not the wrong reasons, and they want racial equality, and they want justice, and they want an end to police brutality, and I could not agree with everyone when it comes to that stuff. So I personally don't have a problem with these patches on jerseys. Before I get to Jamieson, JD, do you have a problem with what these NBA players are going to be doing with these BLM patches, so on and so forth?
Well, some are and some aren't. Actually, LeBron James just said that he's not going to have anything on the back of his jersey, and Anthony Davis said the same thing. And I think,
but a lot of players are.
A lot of players are. I think that the NBA not choosing to not have players be allowed to say, anything pro-police, pro-military, or anti what's going on in China, to me is a bit of a hypocritical thing, but I don't have an issue with it. I just wish it was spread out so the players could put on more if they wanted to.
Jamieson, what do you say to that?
I think this whole jersey thing is a sham. To be honest with you, I mean, we've seen MLS, we've seen the English Premier League overseas being able to put basically whatever they want. They've put victim names on the back. They've put whatever slogans they wanted to without any issues. The NBA has really been corporate about this situation, but I think that takes it away from what the real issues are. I think that is a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound, to be honest with you. I think that it takes away from what the actual major issue or major change needs to be. No one really cares about jerseys and the names on the back of them. No one really cares about that. There needs to be some changes to certain laws that are in place. There needs to be changes to certain policies in place. There needs to be change in how certain practices are done. That's the main thing about all this stuff that people have been protesting, and they've been, causing an uproar with.
But Jamieson,
some changes at some universities.
But Jamieson, I agree with you, by the way. But Jamieson, that has been my argument when it comes to Colin Kaepernick and the players that have been kneeling. Now, you'll get a response from many of these NBA players like you would from a Colin Kaepernick, and the response will be, we're raising awareness. I agree with you. At some point, you have to say to yourself, we don't need awareness now. We need laws to change. I agree with you. We need stuff on the books to change. Maybe it's the way police are trained. Maybe it's the way police interact with minorities in neighborhoods. Whatever the case may be, we need laws to change. I agree. That is the same argument I put forth towards many of these NFL players. And by the way, some of these NFL players are heroes as far as I'm concerned, because they're not just taking a knee. They're going to Washington. They're talking to politicians. They're talking to law enforcement. I think that really gets the ball rolling. But that's my same argument with this NBA thing. While I really don't have a problem with it, and if they want to put a patch on their jersey that says Black Lives Matter, that's fine. I don't think that's doing anybody any good. Am I wrong in thinking that way?
No, I mean, at the end of the day, it really isn't. It's really not. I don't think it really serves a purpose for any random names on the back. I don't. I just think that there has to be more in terms of real tangible things being done, in terms of changes, in terms of, again, the whole, we don't need police, that's a little extreme. However, in terms of some of the rules and laws that are in place, they need to be looked at. And I think that needs to be more of a thing. And we don't know. That could be going on behind the scenes. I don't know. I can't speak on that because I haven't heard anything or anything like that. However, that should be more of the concentration, not necessarily the jerseys, because the jerseys have dominated everything else. And that's the problem I have. Is like that is the thing they put in front of you, but behind the scenes, nothing's really getting done. And that's the big issue I have when it comes to that particular topic.
Do you think that LeBron James and Anthony Davis, choosing to just to maintain their jersey with their last names kind of shows how focused they really are and how much they actually want to win this NBA championship?
I don't think that matters. I mean, they could have a blatant jersey on the back. I mean, they're going to be focused. I mean, LeBron's trying to win a championship. Anthony Davis is trying to do the same and trying to, make sure his ranking and his brand is solid and make sure his career is going on the right direction. So I think that guys will be focused no matter what. I think the jersey thing is a lot overblown, to be honest with you. I think it really is. It's something where it's become a serious topic when it really isn't. I'd be more interested to see what the players are doing behind the scenes in terms of advocating for change, and also what are the front offices and owners are doing, because we haven't seen or heard a lot of owners speak up about this.
Yeah.
We've heard coaches, but we haven't seen a lot of owners say, hey, like, this is what we're trying to do, or this is what we're going to do. We're going to dedicate this amount to this, or, hey, we're going to open up change, or we're going to advocate for this. We haven't seen that. So until that happens, you can keep the jerseys. I really don't care about that.
Fair enough. If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Jamieson Welsh, covers the NBA for Drive Time Sports. One more question on this. Do you think that this could be a distraction, and where do you draw the line? For example, while I wouldn't have a huge issue with a BLM patch, is a player allowed to put Black Power on the back of their jersey? I mean, where do we end here as the NBA discuss this, and where is the line drawn here?
Well, no, you can't do. They won't have that. I mean, again, the NBA is very corporate. And they got sponsors they got to look out for. So that's just what it is. They're not going to go certain levels. They're not going to go to. However, you got to realize they've already approved like 27 different types of names or slogans you can use. So I mean, that's already been done. You can't go off that. You can't go away from that list. So
right.
That's basically what's been done.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. That's a good thing.
With that being said, again, it is more of a thing that says, hey, it takes attention away from the real matter. And that's the issue I have with this whole situation. We're talking about jerseys when this whole thing is way more important than that. And I'll be very curious to see how the NBA, their offices, along with the owners and the players, what they come up going forward.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about winning and losing right now. I'm going to stick to my guns, even though Rondo just had an injury, and I believe Avery Bradley has opted out. He will not be playing. But I still believe that the LA Lakers are the clear-cut favorite. I also believe that LeBron James and Anthony Davis are on a mission, not just to win a championship, but to win one for Kobe Bryant. I really feel like that's just a little bit extra motivation. I am not saying that there are not at least 3 or 4 other teams out there that would have the chance to beat the Lakers in a 7-game series. But I think the fact that you have a shortened season, LeBron James isn't getting any younger, I think it's a perfect opportunity for LeBron James to win another championship. What do you say to that?
I mean, they're going to be right there. I mean, out west, you got them and the Clippers. Those are only 2 teams that really have a chance of winning a championship. However, these are very unique circumstances and situations. I mean, if somebody tests positive in a season, in the middle of a series, they got to sit out for the rest of the series. So, I mean, there's just so much stuff going on. This is a very...
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Sorry to interrupt you.
I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, can you imagine the NBA Finals? Let's just say, hypothetically, the Lakers are playing a really good team out in the East, and in Game 2, we learn that LeBron James has the coronavirus. I mean, you're right. That could happen.
Yeah, it very well could happen. Well, that's the thing. And it could also happen in a first-round series where, let's say, for instance, you get, like, Boston and Philly in round 1, and someone on either side catches it and has to sit out. That's tough. Like, any of those teams get to the finals.
Yeah.
And now something happens and it swings the series. That's going to be tough. So this is not a traditional year where it's going to be chalk all the way up and the 1 or 2 seeds play the other 1 or 2 seeds from the other conference. I think we see an upset or 2 in each conference in the first round. And after that, it's really going to be who has the most depth and who's able to stay healthy. I think that's going to be the main thing, because right now, everyone's mind is somewhere else. If you got family, friends, people you take care of, everything's away from where you're at right now. It's hard to stay focused when you can't just go see the same people you've seen every day for your whole life. It's very, very difficult. So I'm very curious to see who's able to stay focused and who's able to really stay healthy. All
right, quickly, Jamieson, give me your thoughts here. Who's going to win this thing, man? Who's winning the East? Who's winning the West? And who is your pick to win the NBA championship?
Milwaukee's definitely the favorite out east. I mean, they're the best team. They also have the most pressure on them because they're supposed to be here. Like, they're supposed to be the team that's the best. They have the MVP probably in Giannis Antetokounmpo. His free agent status going into next year. They have the most pressure, but they are also the best overall team. So I would pick them to come out the East, even though I wouldn't put money on it or anything like that.
Yeah, you're not like me. You're not a degenerate like me. I understand.
No, I don't have that much confidence in them. I don't trust Eric Bledsoe, and I do not trust Chris Middleton when the chips are down. I like their overall roster, but when the chips are down, I don't trust them that much.
Understood.
However, out west, I mean, it's really between the Lakers and the Clippers, and the one thing the Lakers have more than anyone else is they have a way in close games to really make things difficult for you because LeBron James is either getting a foul call or he's going to the basket and he's finishing at the hoop. And when you're running pick and roll with him and Anthony Davis, there's a very high success rate, and that's something that other teams cannot stop.
So I have a feeling.
No way to stop that.
I have a feeling you're taking the Lakers or the Clippers, though. Who are you going to take?
No, I'm taking the Lakers over the Clippers. But the reason why is because they have the one play that no one can stop consistently, and then on the other defensively, they are very athletic, very long, and they make things difficult for smaller teams like the Clippers.
I got about 30 seconds left here. If it is the Lakers and Milwaukee in the finals, who wins?
Oh, the Lakers win.
There you go. There you go. We're both picking chalk. I like it.
I think the Sixers would be a tougher matchup. I think the Celtics would be a tougher matchup. I even think the Heat would be probably a tougher matchup just overall.
Interesting.
I think the Bucks roster has a lot of role players on it that you really don't know what you're going to get on a nightly basis, including Chris Middleton.
Jamieson, you are a wealth of a Welsh of knowledge. I was going to say, I like that. Yeah, you like that? You like how I did that? Jamieson Welsh from Drive Time Sports. Always appreciate it when you come on, my friend. Stay safe and look forward to talking to you soon. Okay.
Man, see y'all soon. Y'all be good.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Jamieson.
Thanks for joining us. Jamieson is the best.